Hey y'all, it's Joefer here, the cranky old gay guy. It is Monday, the 4th of August, 2025, and it's only 72 degrees and cloudy, so it's a bit nippy, if you ask me. This morning, I got up and tried to open my bank app, Chase, and it said that suspicious activity, your account is blocked. So I called the number and got some guy named Ronnie who wanted my debit number. And I said, no, I don't use that. So let me use my Visa. So he reluctantly agreed. He looked up my account and he said, your name, birth date, that kind of thing. And then, okay, I've sent you a notification. Tell me when you get it. By the way, I had waited online for 20 minutes to talk to Ronnie. The notification didn't come through. I said, can you text me? He goes, no, we don't do that. And I said, okay, but the only notifications I get are through the app, and I don't have access to the app because it won't let me in. He goes, it should just show up on your phone, your Galaxy Note, which is what I'm using. And I said, okay. And he goes, well, did you get it? Did you get it? And this went on for like 6 or 7 minutes. I said, no, I didn't. He goes, well, I can't help you then. You'll need to call back. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, you have failed the safety protocols, so you'll need to call back. And it's like, but I waited 20 minutes just to talk to you. I'm going to have to do that again. He goes, yeah, I can't help you anymore. Is there anything else I can do for you? Have a nice day. And it was just cold, calculated, rude, and BS. So I drove down the street, 3 miles or so, to a Chase branch, and I went in and told them what was going on, and someone took me over to a side booth, and we had to call that same number and go through all those things again. And I finally ended up, after 3 transfers, to a rep, and the rep said, oh, okay, we got this, no problem. I'm sending you a notification. I said, okay, but it didn't work this morning. And so this notification came through, and it only took, nothing was loading well at the bank on my phone, but the notification came through within like a minute, and I clicked on it, and it took me back to the login site, but I can't log in because it said it was locked. And she goes, oh, okay, just a minute, 2-step verification. I'm going to call you. And we'd already gone through all this with a different phone rep who called me and then hung up on me. And I got sent back to the main menu and had to start all over again. So this second time, she said, I'm going to call you. And I said, okay, but it doesn't come through right away. So stay on the line for 2 or 3 minutes, okay? And she agreed. And it took about, I'd say 80 seconds for the phone to ring. And I picked it up and answered it. And it was her. So now she said, okay, your account's unlocked. All you need to do is reset your password. I said, okay, is that it? And she said, yes. And I said, well, let me make sure, stay on the line. And I reset my password on the app, and then got into the app to make sure I could use it. And everything was cool. So she got to hang up. The girl across from me said, now, you were having trouble setting up a new savings account, because I, this weekend, tried to set up, and I've done this before for taxes. I have created another account and then moved money from savings into it, and then contribute enough to it throughout the year that it pays the property taxes and insurance. So I'm not hit hard in November. Hit hard in November. Get that. With this, I want to set up a side account and put enough money in it to cover afterlife expenses like cremation. No funeral or anything. I don't want that. Just cremation. So I checked prices on that, and right now it's at average $900. I think you can get it cheaper, but I'll put money into that account. So if and when it happens, my executor will have access to that account and be able to pay those expenses, and it's not out of pocket that way. So the person I was sitting across from at the bank said, well, maybe, and I had to do it twice because the app kept rejecting it, and it wasn't easy like it was before. Instead, it made me apply as if I didn't have an account, and I had to reapply, even though it's all linked to my account. And I got a message back that said, this was Saturday, and this message said that we'll get back to you in 1 or 2 days. And then I got an email this morning saying that my application was rejected. So that's what started all this to get me to go to the bank this morning and make all the calls at home and then move down. And the person I was with at the bank, she walked me through it. She did everything I did. And she goes, oh yeah, it should just take a few minutes. Usually it's really, really quick. And we did this, and then came the message saying, you have to wait a day or two and see if we approve this. She didn't know why that was happening. She said she's never seen it before, and that if you get a notification that you're rejected again, just come back to the branch and we will just open that account for you here. So all this made me cranky. This took over an hour going to the bank and getting back home. And then I have a credit union account that locked me out weeks ago. And I've never gone back to the credit union to see, because that's where residuals from my book comes from. That's where YouTube monies go. And I wanted to know what was actually happening with the account, or happening. And online, again, it would block me and lock me out because you try your password 3 times. I don't know what my password is. It's been a long time since I've opened that. And the last time I opened it was the time that it said, your phone's too old. You need to update the app, or get the updated app, but it only works with this version of Android. And I didn't have that, so I couldn't access it. So at that time, I'd gone to the bank to check my statement, because I get notifications email that says your statement has arrived and is ready to be reviewed. And then I can't get to it because the app won't let me in. And I could go to the website, but when I try that, I don't know what my password is because it's locked into the app. And since the app is a verified, it's on a verified phone, I don't have to put in my passcode every time I open the app. And it was all frustrating. So I went to the credit union, and while I was waiting for her to pull up my account, I asked what their new name was going to be. They've merged with Columbia Credit Union, and she said actually Columbia bought them 3 years ago, but they're just now getting around to changing the name. And I asked if that branch was going to close because it's close to my house, and there aren't any other credit unions close to my house. And she said, I hope not. It's the only one in this whole area. And I agree with her, but it's also pretty slow as far as customers coming in, so I can see it going away soon. I was only there 15 minutes, I think, and we got everything squared away. I reset the password. I have access to it now. So that was a much happier experience, but the whole thing ate up, with driving, almost 2 hours. And I had uploaded a bunch of stuff this morning on the PC from last night's comedy show that I was going to try to put together. Not put out today, but I'm going to put it out this week. And those are my active hours where I have energy and desire and oomph. And now I'm just sitting here in the backyard doing this and saying, I don't know if I'm going to get to any editing today because my mind is just not with it. Oh, and to make matters worse, I got a letter from my insurance this morning that made me not only cranky, but filled with anxiety. And they said, this procedure to fix your brain bleed has been denied by the insurance company. Great. And it was just a CT as well, just a CAT scan. And I called them because I'm thinking if they denied one, they're going to deny all of them. And they said that it was outside the dollar limits of their contract with the hospital. So I called them, and as it turns out, thankfully, it's being denied because they didn't have pre-authorization for it, and it wasn't an emergency because this was a follow-up CT. And she said, you don't have to do anything. If they send you a bill, call us back immediately because it's supposed to bill through us. And she said, if you want to just give yourself some anxiety release, call their billing department and tell them that this has happened and that my insurance has told them all they have to do is resubmit a pre-authorization form, and you can do that after the fact. That's what she said. So I think I'm in good standing now, and I haven't received any bills from the hospital, but I've had procedures in the past, and I know that sometimes it's 90 days before you get any bills. So, but I wanted to know if everything that I had done was being covered. And she said, well, although the statement you sent was a July 11th CAT scan follow-up, the only pre-authorization she has is from the 23rd, which I think is the second time I went in, or the third time with the surgery. And I said, well, can you tell me how much the surgery cost? Because I'm guessing it's $150,000 to $275,000 or something like that. And she said, no, I can't tell you any of that because none of that's showing up on my screen yet. So they haven't even sent the bills, or the bills haven't hit the insurance's pay department yet. So who knows what's going to be rejected. All in all, I don't want to worry about it because, oh my God, that would bankrupt me, I think. And I don't want that. And every time I went in and had anything done, I'd say, now this is covered by insurance, right? And they go, oh yeah, your insurance, we're contracted, that's fine. But if something is over the limit, I mean, I don't know what the max on my insurance is. I know back in the day when I had dental, I don't do that now because it's cheaper for me just to pay on a Visa card. Once you hit $1,000 in a year, they don't cover anything. And I don't know what it's like for health insurance when you hit like $100,000. Do they stop paying? Because even that is going to be a lot of money to make up if that's the case. But again, I'm not going to worry about that now. Instead, I'm going to be thankful that it's supposed to get warmer this week and I'll have less to crank about. All right, I'm going to let you all go. Have a wonderful Monday evening. And again, I am going to put the Comedy Queen video, I think that's what they called it. I have to piece it together. I took a bunch of things. And I'll tell you right now, this isn't the greatest camera for low light, and it's in a nightclub. So some of it might come across as grainy. But you know, it is what it is. However, I think I might have found some people when that talk show I'm supposed to do starts. Yeah, it's all on me. I have to create the whole thing. So it's when I get around to it, I might have found some people that would make interesting guests. Okay, I gotta go. I am wishing you all well and telling you, I'm not demanding or commanding or forcing you to, but stay cranky, my friend. Stay cranky. Bye-bye.